Hello, happy April, happy Tuesday. I hope you're all very well. I hope you had a nice Easter. Over Easter I was on tour and we're back on a little break, and I wanted to talk about some of the books I was reading whilst I was away, and it got me thinking about how at this time of year, when university or when school used to get really busy and you're revising for exams and you're writing essays, you don't really have time to read long books in the way you do during dark winter nights in front of a fire when you can read like Ulysses in one sitting. I feel like with the extra daylight and the crazy stress of trying to get final work done, it's a good time for the novella. A novella is basically shorter than a novel and longer than a short story. It's just a short novel with a fancy name, but that's what I want to talk about. A few that I've been reading and that I intend to read and finish over the coming weeks before crazy dissertation deadlines. The first one I picked up very cheap at the book depository just before I went on tour. This is Anthem by Ayn Rand. This was so cheap. It's a little paperback, the 75th anniversary edition. It has a big light bulb on it. I'm not sure if you can see. This was first published in 1938. I've never actually read any Ayn Rand books before. She was a Russian-American who was a philosopher and a writer, and I think most of her books, fiction and non-fiction, deal with politics and philosophy and all that good stuff. I'm about 3/4 of the way through this story. It's not as long as this book looks. It has sort of an annotated edition that takes up the second half of the book. It's set in a dystopian future where everyone has this sort of group identity, and you don't have parents, you don't even have a name. You just have a job that you're given when you're 15 years old, and then you do that job for your whole life and then you die. You're working for mankind, you're working for each other. Advancement and science is sort of a touchy subject, so I'm not quite through it yet. I don't really know where it's going, but it sort of threw me in the beginning because the narrator uses plural pronouns, so it's always we and our instead of I and me and mine and my. It's very confusing, but it's very smart. It creates this sort of bigger identity and it sort of pulls you as a reader into that we. It's very interesting and it's very different, and I haven't read anything dystopian in quite a while, and Ayn Rand is a very interesting person, so if you've read any of her other books, fiction or non-fiction, let me know. Next is a book that I have not started yet. I also got this ridiculously cheap at the book depository when I was buying that one, and this is The Awakening by Chopin. This was first published all the way back in 1889. Chopin was an American writer, and I'd heard of her because she's known as like a feminist forerunner in literature. So this book is about a woman in late 19th century Louisiana who sort of defies the norms of femininity and motherhood and things like that, as far as I know. So that's why I was drawn to it. I haven't read it apart from skimming the back cover and googling it, but it is very well reviewed, very well loved, and I hope that I like it. So let me know if you've read this. This is such a flimsy book, I could use it as a fan. The next novella is one which I have lost. I swear I own this book, but I don't know where it is. If anyone has been to my house recently and they've seen it, please let me know where it is. The book is George Orwell's Animal Farm. It's gonna be here. This is the copy I have. It's very nice. It's a paperback, very short. I feel like most people read Animal Farm when they're at school, and I didn't. I feel like it's the type of book you should read at school. I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. I got it. If you don't know anything about it, it was published in 1945 as an allegory about the Stalin era and all that kind of stuff. Again, a sort of political book set in a different time and space. It's a farm full of pigs and other animals, and they form a rebellion to overthrow the humans, and it's great, it's funny, it's dark, it's very important. Like I said, it's allegorical to the world, and yeah, I feel like it's a book everyone should read, but I don't think I'll ever want to reread it. I'm hoping to finally finish 1984 one of these days. I've been reading a copy of my brother's for about 5 years, and surely one of the best things about Animal Farm is that it's super short and you can read it in one sitting. So yeah, I seem to be in a strangely dystopian mood this spring, but moving on. Finally, a book that was published in 1973 but written way back in 1945, 1946, and it is First Love by Samuel Beckett. I have a Penguin edition, which is First Love and Other Novellas. Basically it has loads of very short stories in it, along with First Love, which is a little bit longer. Samuel Beckett, it was Samuel Beckett's birthday yesterday. He was born on April 13th, and surely the most photogenic author that has ever lived. Just craziness. I found this collection really interesting because it was first written in French. Samuel Beckett lived in Paris and was very Parisian and wrote much of his most famous work in French, and then it had to be translated. So he's one of our most loved Irish authors, but you should probably know that this is a translation. These stories can be very disgusting and very crude and incredibly bleak, but it still remains incredibly beautiful because it's Samuel Beckett. If you haven't read Samuel Beckett, you must. He just has a way of crafting sentences that's absolutely extraordinary, and this will take you a while to read because there's so much going on in his sentences, even though there aren't that many pages altogether. I'm reading these for a class, and so far I find them to be a wonderful reflection on life, on city life and rural life, and on mortality in general, I suppose. Yeah, they've been quite bleak, so I've been reading this in dribs and drabs and sort of going between this book and Ayn Rand's book. There we go, those are 4 novellas that I am reading or have been reading. Animal Farm I read way back in the summer, but I forgot to talk about it. I can definitely recommend these 2, and I look forward to starting The Awakening. Let me know if you've read any of them and what you thought, or if you're familiar with these authors, and let me know what your favourite very short novels are, because nobody has time for long books these days, do we? No. There will be links to these books and my missing copy of Animal Farm in the description if you want to look at them further. I will talk to you soon. Farewell.